Okay, so hi, I'm back here with Neil Moodie. You may have seen our last YouTube video, which is obviously amazing fun. You may have seen things that he's written for me on my blog, all about hair. You want to know about hair. Neil's a major hairdresser in the fashion industry and one of my best friends, and that's why he's here. So what we're going to talk about today is because, you know, I wanted to talk to Neil about what have you been doing today before you came here. Okay. I know what it is, and I'd like him to talk about it.
You want me to talk about it?
It's interesting,
yeah. So I mentioned, I think in the other video, that I'm quite into podcasts. That's my new thing. Yeah. And I've been listening to quite a few. And I just got recently introduced through a lovely woman called Georgia Day. Who I've known for a long time. She was a beauty director at Elle magazine. Right. But Georgia now works for Space & K as head of their online and social media content. Okay. And Georgia posted something about her husband, Jamie, and the fact that he'd done these new podcasts called Man Talk. Yeah. And they're all about men's mental health. And I was like, well, that looks interesting. And I started to dig a little bit deeper. I went to find Jamie's website and everything. And what Jamie's done is that he's created this series of podcasts called Man Talk that are where he's interviewing men who have suffered from mental health. It's becoming quite a big thing now, whereas there's been such a stigma attached to it for so long. And
I think for men and women.
And women, but definitely more for men in a way, because for men it was really taboo.
Well, men do not talk about problems.
No.
I mean, you know, us girls, we love a chit chat, and you know, we kind of talk through it. Men were just like, hold it, oh man.
Yeah. And for a man to admit that he's got mental issues, it's
not coping.
No,
right?
It's not coping, and you know, men are meant to cope, and they're not meant to have these problems. So Jamie's actually suffered from depression himself, and
does it say why was that?
Yeah, his very first podcast is him talking about himself, so you actually get an insight into him before you then listen to some of the other interviews. And what's interesting is with the interviews, all the guys are probably what you would consider the most unlikely candidates to have suffered from depression. And I suppose what Jamie's trying to get across is that
depression, anxiety?
It's everything.
Everything.
All mental issues all rolled into one. Because anxiety, depression, panic attacks, all that kind of thing, they all come together as a package normally. Right. And the reason why I was so interested in it is because I've suffered with mental health issues from about the age of probably 14, 15, and had many incidents with anxiety and panic attacks, and I've gone through periods where I've been very low with depression. And it's funny because for me, everybody that knows me, like you, they're always like, oh, Neil's so happy and so jolly, but you can put on a front. And obviously my close friends like you will know about things that I've gone through over the years and things that I've suffered from. But what's great with what Jamie's doing is he's kind of putting it out there. He's making it's the awareness. Yeah,
I just think the more you talk about it. I mean, I've suffered from depression before too. Obviously, when you're younger, you don't have any idea what it is. I've had anxiety. I mean, you knew when I was had an anxiety, kind of panic attack. I didn't know what it was. Neil knew. A lot of people in our business do have it because it's very highly stressed, and you're very on your own, and you don't really know if it's what you're doing is right or wrong. You're very out there, and I suppose for men, I suppose it can be maybe. I mean, look, women, you know, we're career-minded now, and we're doing a lot of stuff for ourselves. But I suppose men have always felt like they should have been the breadwinners. They should have been looking after everything. They should be looking after the wife, the kids. I know that's not necessarily true anymore, but it's still an underlying kind of thing that men think they should be.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So listen, if you, as a woman, if you're doing all that, or if any one single person is trying to hold together like 3 other people, that's pressure. Yeah. Right?
Well, I think especially for men that maybe have families. So a lot of the guys that Jamie's interviewed, the guys they've got a wife, they've got children.
Yeah, you cannot, especially to the kids, you cannot look to be falling apart.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's also, I think, as well, there's still peer pressure from like the parents of these men who are maybe in their 60s, 70s, where
it was a different lifestyle.
It's a different generation.
Life was a lot simpler. It was just all about like maybe having a roof over your head, having like
paying the bills, and being able to put food on the table.
And that was really about it. And now it's a lot more than that. And I think it puts people under real pressure. And if you're paying for kids going to school, or if you're just paying for your kids to have clothes and food and just the bills and everything, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it is. And I mean, I listened to all of the podcasts, there's 6 so far, and all of them are really interesting stories. There's a guy called Matt Riley who actually was on the Great British Bake Off 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So that, which we love. Yeah. We love a cake.
Yeah, we love it. I love it.
Matt, funny enough, when I listened to his podcast, he was a hairdresser back in the day, but he's now a firefighter, and he went on
that's
to...
a big transition.
Massive, yeah. If you listen to his story though, he tells you he went
from a mamsy-pamsy hairdresser to a real firefighter.
Real bad. But, and now he's married with kids, and he was on Bake Off, which obviously got him a lot of exposure as a person, but underneath it all, he's
still his love was cooking.
Loves his baking.
But
underneath it all, he's still suffering from anxiety and depression.
Wow.
So, and
it's not great to be anxious when you're a firefighter, no?
Well, no, and this is the thing. He said as a firefighter, you're expected to be this...
like...
big, burly
happen,
guy,
right?
and you've got to be ready and ready to go. But it's interesting because he talks about that, and he says when he's at work, for some reason, he doesn't get anxious about the situation because he goes into this mode of like, I'm here to try and sort things out.
Yeah, maybe it's more like not a routine, but it's a bit
it's
like...
a focus.
Yeah, we do this to do that, to do that. There's a process, and in life, there's never a process.
No.
You just kind of bumbling through it, right?
Yeah. But then there's another one, I can't remember the guy's name offhand, but he's an author, but his father was murdered when he was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it's a really interesting story, and his story is about how obviously his father being murdered affected him when he was so young, and how he then dealt with it over the years, which then manifested into anxiety and depression.
Right, okay.
There's another one with a guy who actually had, and I didn't even really know this was a thing, but he had postnatal male depression.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Which apparently is very rare, but when his second child was born, but it happens. And he was diagnosed by a doctor that that's what he had, but he didn't realise. So, but they're all really interesting.
Well, in a way, thank God that
stories.
doctor did realise, because ultimately, I'm sure there've been a lot of doctors that wouldn't have had that kind of case study, wouldn't have been in their vocabulary to diagnose, and then you think that you're losing it, and there's no hope until someone says it's this, and you go, whew, I'm not like...
And he said it's a woman doctor who diagnosed him with it.
Because we're so thoughtful and kind.
So yeah, but they're all really interesting stories. But anyway, this morning, after seeing these and listening to them, I thought, now I'm 50, that maybe...
Yay!
50's the new 40.
New 30.
New 30. Gradually work, man.
It's time for that.
We're building up.
You've got time.
We're building up. But I decided that maybe it was a good time to tell my story, because also it's something I've kept to myself and my close friends and my family. But because I really like what Jamie's trying to achieve with this, and it's about releasing that stigma.
Well, I feel like the more people say, you know what, I've been depressed, it's happened to me, it happens, and it doesn't make you a lesser person. And the more people that say it, like, I suppose, like, I'm sure when people didn't talk about being gay, when you was to say that you was gay, it would have been a bit like, oh, because you know he's gay.
Yeah.
Or you know he's lost it before. You know, people do that, but the more people that say something, then it just becomes like, oh yeah, well they were depressed. And,
well, look at even
do you know what I mean? It just becomes really. It doesn't. There's no stigma attached to it anymore because the moment, and then someone will go, you know what? I felt like that because you're quite isolated and vulnerable when you feel like that because it's feelings and you can't interpret them.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, also it's like you saying about the gay thing. You know, how many years ago? You know, I came out as a gay man when I was 18, which is in the 80s. Yeah. And then it was still quite a big thing. Right. Now you can be anything you want. I mean, you can be gay, bisexual, transgender, have a sex. You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel quite boring.
Well, I do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe get some more piercings.
But because of the fact that it started to get talked about, it meant that all these stigmas disappeared. Yeah. And you know, now you can literally be whatever you want. And I have to say, I think the young generation now have actually, it's amazing for them.
Yeah, because amazing.
I know some friends of mine whose daughter at 14 decided she wanted to be a boy, was going to an all-girls school. They allowed her to dress as a boy, calls herself a boy's name. Oh, wow. And now she's transitioning. I think he's now 18, 19. Oh, wow. But you know, for that to be, I mean, that would never have happened to a woman.
Moving that way.
Can you imagine?
No.
But whereas that's how much it's progressed.
Evolved, yeah.
And so I think what Jamie's trying to do with this now is break that.
Yeah, because it is a massive stigma that, you know, I think men are supposed to hold up the foundations of everything.
Family and life and just general, really.
It's like if you cry, then you like...
Oh, if you cry, you're not a man, then.
Yeah, you're not a man. And I'm all about the crying, me.
Oh,
I love a cry.
Because
I think it's done now, we can move on. No, I mean, I always think it's all about releasing because there's nothing worse than seeing someone that is so pent up, they're about to explode, and then they're dangerous. I think dangerous to themselves and everybody else. Not that that's what it's about, but I just think, I think that's great to be talking about that. And I mean, and it's very personal as well. So it's like, you know, for you, it's like you're not going to tell everybody your dirty laundry.
No.
You're just not. But if it can help other people to go, you know what, I think this is happening to me, because you actually don't know when it's happening. And I think that's more the scary thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you've got a cold.
No. Do
you know what I mean? It's really, you're really unsure of what's going on.
Well, when I first started having panic attacks at 14, around the age of 14, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I was too scared to tell anybody because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was probably like mid-20s I actually could go, oh my God, that was an anxiety attack or a panic attack.
Yeah.
Because I really did not know what it was. I mean, people are more aware now for sure than they were.
Well, no, I think if someone else has had it, then they can, and they're with you when it happened. Like when I had it and you went to me, you're having an anxiety attack, and I didn't know. I just thought, you go, Barbary. I mean, I was scared, but Neil was like, you are having an anxiety attack. But if I was just on my own, I think I would just think I'm dying.
You think, well, you do. Yeah. It feels like you're dying.
Yeah.
If somebody can't explain.
And as soon as someone says you're an anxiety, okay. I can get my head around that.
Yeah, you know? And then okay.
I mean, then you.
So now, how the fuck do I deal with it?
Yeah, get a paper bag. Just slow it all down. Yeah, but you know, it's not.
But one of the things I've talked about in the podcast, well, is that actually within the fashion industry, there's a lot of anxiety because to the outside world, the fashion industry is fluffed up. You know what I mean? And I said it's got like a really big fluffy cloud around it, and everyone goes, oh, it's really glamorous, you're really lucky, and we are lucky. But I was explaining to him today that we're actually not the glamorous part of it.
No,
because we're not the end product. The end product is what's glamorous.
Yeah.
The model on the set is what's glamorous.
Yeah.
We're not the glamorous bit.
That's really true.
Yeah. You know, even if you're doing, you know, say like Sienna, for example, Sienna on the red carpet is the glamorous bit.
Yeah.
We're busting a gut trying to get her ready.
Sweaty ones with loads of makeup all over the place now.
Yeah. But I said, you know, it's interesting.
Don't get me wrong, we do have fun.
Oh, well,
but not always.
Not always.
We try to.
I was sort of trying to explain that the side of it that we do is not always that.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't see. But also, because of that, it creates a lot of anxiety for us. Even because anxiety comes in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But also, I was explaining how we also have the anxiety as working in the industry that, obviously, for example, I'm getting older, you're getting older, there's younger people coming up. We were that age, and suddenly you're like, am I cool enough? Am I relevant enough? Is my work right for now? Because there's these people half our age, suddenly everyone thinks are really cool. But the thing is, we were those people once.
I don't know if I ever was.
Yeah, you were in your own way. We all were, but you know, it's that whole thing.
I've
of
always
like,
thought I was cool, so it didn't really matter to me.
Well,
I thought school to school, so I really don't give a shit.
Totally. But you know, it's that pressure.
Yeah.
That, and it does create this anxiety.
I think you're judged continuously, and it's not like I've got a job, I go to work, I get paid at the end of the month. No. If someone doesn't like you, if you don't look right, if they don't think you're doing the right thing, I mean, there's lots of elements.
Yeah.
So you're judged continuously. So it could make you quite paranoid. Yeah. Actually.
Yeah. You're judged at work. You're judged afterwards. When it comes out, you're judged by other people, even if you don't know they're judging. You know what I mean? It's this constant judgment thing going on. Yeah. And I think, you know, if you let it manifest, it can really get out of control in your head.
And I think this is what probably younger people are finding now with Instagram. Because they look at Instagram and they see what other people are doing of their age. And they, you know, and they see they're getting loads of likes, and they're like, you know, I hear on the radio, I shouldn't laugh, but it reminds me of a Christmas card scenario. You know, they're like, you know, kids are getting depressed because they don't get enough likes. And I can only put that down to when I was at school and we had a pillar box at Christmas, and you used to put Christmas cards in there, and when they emptied them out, if you ever got a lot of Christmas cards,
so you got
luckily I got a lot. So I didn't feel that anxiety at all. But I do think it's a bit like you can't look at Instagram as people's lives. I mean, we all put out there what we want people to see. You can make it much more glamorous than it is, or you can just not be part of it. And it doesn't mean not being part of it doesn't make you relevant. You're just doing your thing, about not shouting about it, and not everyone needs to know.
No. Well, I think what, say, like Instagram has done, for example, is it's helped to create fake lives that other people think that they need. Yeah. But I don't think everybody's seeing.
I mean, did you see that new face tune at the moment? I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram, but it was really quite amazing. I was feeling like, wow. There was this girl, she was pretty, and then there was kind of a halo effect went around her mouth, then suddenly her teeth were white, and then a halo effect went around her nose, and then suddenly her nose went in. I was like, whoa! I mean, she was pretty before, but now she's starting to look like way prettier. And then her eyes got bigger, and I was like, shit, do I need that? And I was like, a lot of these Instagram followers been, like Instagram influencers have been doing that, because listen guys, I do meet them, and I do see them in real life, and they look nothing like their pictures. But wow, I mean, that's face tune too.
Yeah. God, do I need that?
Yeah, maybe we both need it.
The thing is, I quite like to be face tuned permanently.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I think, did I really touch that or not? It's good to know what you really look like. I wish you were in a really false world.
Yeah. But in a way, I think what Instagram has done and social media has done is it's made us all become too over-aware of how we look. Yeah. Because there is
doesn't make you a greater person, doesn't make you a more talented person, doesn't make you liked by more people. Really, no. No. And
I think what's worrying for the young people is that maybe their aspirations are a little bit unreachable. Yeah. You know, these people that they're aspiring to.
Even if they did get that, would they actually be happy? Because I'm telling you now, the stuff that goes with that, possibly, can be not great. Yeah. But tell me about your Instagram, because you're relaunching your website. What are you doing?
So I'm relaunching neilmoodie.com. Okay. Which sort of got put on the back burner when I was working with my own brand. Yeah. Because I was concentrating more on that. Busy. And then also I'm relaunching my YouTube channel. which again was put on hold for a little while. So
I'll be on that as well.
You will be on that.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm also going to be doing my own podcast.
Oh yeah, I mean that'll be good.
Which you are definitely going to be part of, because I'm going to. When I first started my website, which was around the time yours started, wasn't it? How long ago was that?
I want to say 7 years. I mean, I made that up, but I
think it's close to that. It's 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And I back then I used to interview people. Sometimes it was written, other times it was a video interview if I could get to see the people. But it was always people that I worked with and I knew. How I want to relaunch that now is with podcasts, so there'll be podcast interviews, but they're going to be some people from the industry, some people not, but just where it'll be interesting conversations that could, you know, generate more conversations outside of it afterwards. I'm actually going to interview Jamie, who I did the podcast with.
I mean, I'm interested. I'm interested to hear your one.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to listen into Mantle because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Check out Neil's YouTube and see what he's doing. Website.
New tutorials.
Hair
tutorials.
Hair, YouTube tutorials. And his Instagram, which looks amazing. Other way, Neil. Yeah, looks really good. So he's going to be back. He's going to do some other things. If you want Neil to do some other things, or you want to ask Neil some questions, please comment.
Any hair questions?
Yeah, because I don't know them, and he'll be answering them. All right. So listen, guys. See you soon, and see you later.
See you later.
All right. Bye. Bye.